Hello Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So I'm a bit curious, Sagittarius, because I did a reading earlier on this week, last week, about where it's called Patience, and it had a strong temperance tune to it, which is Sagittarius energy. I don't know if I will touch upon some of the same things. And Sagittarius, your opposite sign is Gemini, and we have a new moon in Gemini coming up in just a few days on the 18th of June. I'm doing your reading today on the 16th of June, and I don't know if there will be a clash of energies here that come in. I had Gemini energy also touching upon the reading I did called Patience, where I feel like there was this very temperance-like divine timing energy to it as well. So maybe I will touch upon some of the same things, maybe not. But it's significant. I feel like for you, Sagittarius, especially if you're dealing with a Gemini, opposites attract, right? So you could be dealing with a Gemini. Or you have Gemini in some kind of opposition or conjunct or something, specifically in your zodiac. If you're dealing with a Gemini, there could be an opportunity of changing something, because the new moon is about new. It's about manifesting something new, a different approach, a different way, a different, maybe from mistrust to trust, right? Maybe the other way around, I don't know, but from one situation to another, there is an opportunity for manifesting something new. We'll see, Sagittarius. I had a feeling of it's something like looking at, you could say, your entire family history, and it's like having a knowingness about something, and you have seen your parents, maybe your siblings, maybe grandparents and great-grandparents living a certain way, and you now today see it as a lie, right? They have been living in some kind of paradigm, and you are just thinking by yourself, but it's changeable, right? It's why couldn't they see that? But at the same time also being grateful for the journey they've had, because if they had not lived like that and carried it on, and also, given it to you, you couldn't see it now, right? If you haven't lived it, you wouldn't be able to see it, or to recognize some of those patterns. You wouldn't also have not been given the opportunity as a soul to heal from it, even though it has been maybe tumultuous or something. It's because your ancestors were living, let's say it's a paradigm of scarcity, poverty, or lack or something. If they had not lived in that and kind of passed it on to their children, and they passed it on to your children, if it had not been done like that, you would not have been experiencing it. And like looking at it, how immense of an effect it has or has had on perhaps the entire family, cousins and nephews and great granduncles and whatever, that you're looking at something, and with some kind of truth in your belief system today, you're looking at it and you are saying, wow, if they have not passed this on to me, I would not have had a chance to see it. I would not have had a chance to experience it, to live it, to breathe it, and to think it, to fear it, and everything. I wouldn't have had that chance unless I somehow was dropped into it as an infant, right? It's if I grew up in a rich family, or in a more privileged family with maybe different opportunities or different mindset, a different way of understanding the world, I would not have had the opportunity to go through this kind of healing or this kind of understanding. I wouldn't be able to see this now, right? I wouldn't be able to, even though it has been harsh, or it has been difficult, I have learned a lot from it. I have grown as a person or as a soul. I have matured. I set myself out for a different destiny. I understand and maybe also accept the fact that they are still living in that paradigm, that I can't change that. But it's like the one I'm talking to here somehow sees something else. Like they see something else. They see a different truth, right? And Sagittarius, you are a truth seeker somehow. You're looking for more, right? You're looking for a different way of, or a different side to the story or something. You are doing that. Or usually, at least what I know about Sagittarius, you are looking for maybe a different beginning, or a different paradigm perhaps. Just the idea that another one exists. Again, if you have been living in one kind of mindset where there is no solution, there is only this, it's like then you're kind of trapped in it, right? You're not allowing yourself to think out of the box somehow. But I think that you are doing that. You are thinking out of the box. You are allowing yourselves to think, what if, right? What if things could be different? If things could be different, what would it be like then? What would my life be like? And in that process, maybe visualizing something new for yourself, even though everyone else around you says no, and that can't happen, and how are you going to do that? But that takes investment, or it takes money, or it takes skill or something, right? Maybe you do have like a different way of doing something, and because of that, or certain skills that you haven't opened the door to yet. I just feel like someone was really looking back, right? Looking back at, and Saturn is retrograding right now, right? Saturn has started its journey retrograding, meaning that we can look back. And Saturn is the great teacher, right? It's something that Saturn can put obstacles in our way for us to overcome them. And when Saturn is retrograding, you can have this feeling of looking back, right? Maybe visiting those feelings again, visiting or being reminded about it because you meet the same people or you talk to your grandparents. and they still repeat that kind of cycle, right? They are still there. And you can see it now, right? You can, when you look at it and you hear them talk, you can hear how they are stuck in it, like they can't move from it. But you can become the observer right now. You can see that it's that maybe you are allowing yourself to think just a little bit differently, and you can no longer just say yes to that paradigm or accept it, right? It's like something has changed in you or with you. So instead of seeing problems and challenges, you may see potential and opportunities. But I have cornucopia. It shows itself somehow like that, but it was flying. So maybe we should just think like that instead. So cornucopia is this, like fantasy vision, right, of abundance and everything. But what if it's not fantasy? What if you can actually manifest it and have that in your life? I don't know why I put it back. In the other readings, I actually put it up here. Now I'm kind of wondering if I should have put it up here, but there's typically a reason for that. Probably because it showed itself for me reversed, and somehow I feel like you want to put that back into the shuffle, right? It's like, I don't want to live that paradigm, right? It's like I see how they have been living it, and I see how, you could say, if this really is one of my life lessons as a soul here, to overcome something like that, or to really sever the tie to that, for me, it had to be like all over, like that. I had to be embedded in it, right? There shouldn't be a just one in the family who wasn't like that. Like if only one was like that, I would have stuck to them. But this is like you have been everyone. Everyone has told the same story, right? So you had no one but your intuition, nobody but your nobody around you could give you this information. It's something you had to discover or figure out on your own. It's a little bit like if you are if you are a girl and you grow up in a family of musicians, and your mother is an actor and sings, and your father plays all kinds of instruments, right? But none of them are like good at handiwork. None of them knows anything about fixing the car or building something, they don't know anything about that. And nobody in your family does. If you ask your grandparents, they don't know about it. They, if you have an interest for something, and it's like anyone that is seemingly available for you, they have no clue. They don't know about it. They just want to sing and have that kind of experience. They want to feast and have a barbecue, but they don't want to fix the car. And maybe you are interested in fixing the car, but there's nobody there to ask, right? Nobody seemingly has those qualifications to somehow fix this. So either you learn it on your own somehow, or you have to go even further out in the world. Maybe leave the family behind. You have to go to, I don't know, another state or another country, or if you have some specific interest, right? Because nothing in that area or nothing in that environment is kind of supporting you in your endeavor, in your search, or in the truth that is your truth, right? So you are forced to kind of leave whatever this is, because if you stay here, you probably will sing in the church choir, or you will be groomed to be an actor or something as well, because your parents are kind of in this, and or everyone in your family is supporting this kind of thing, right? But you could be this feeling of this, but I'm not like that. It's not my truth, right? So I'm seeking my truth somehow. And to have that truth, or to figure out more about it, it's like you have to leave whatever was there. As I said, it could be a paradigm, right? That there is a need for a paradigm shift, at least in your opinion. But the people that are around you, or your family, or whatever, they are still in the same kind of muddy pool, you could say. At least in your eyes, it's a muddy pool. Maybe not in theirs. They don't know anything else. They haven't like opened their mind to the idea that there could be something else. But you are kind of experimenting with this feeling. I that's what I feel like. But at the same time, you're really looking back at them, like you're looking at them, and that could be the Saturn retrograde thing, that you're looking back, and you're really seeing that, wow, this has been orchestrated in a immense and very stubborn way for me. That if it had not been this intense for me, if it had not been that dense, I probably would not have gotten myself out. Like it had to be this massive somehow. It had to be this, like it had to be so bad, and with no door out. There's no aunt over here who is not like that, right? There's nobody. Everyone speaks the same language. Everyone thinks in the same way. There's no one here where you can find this support, or just a little bit of different guidance or something. It had to be this intense. It had to be this dense and closed off like a bubble. It had to be that. Otherwise, I would probably not have felt a need to leave, right? It had to be this, dense, I want to say. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have left. I had to feel so under pressure. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. Right? I wouldn't have, or I wouldn't have had I wouldn't have mustered my anger, or I wouldn't have mustered my resistance unless it was this dense. You see? Something like that. And also at the same time really feeling this, wow, but they are still living, they are still in this pool, right? They are still here. And everything, you can hear it, their belief system, everything is like, it's really not moving. It's still the same. It's still And there could be this feeling, I talked a little bit about this in this, or I talked a lot about it in the Scorpio reading, this idea that I believe my example was that if you have a family member who is addicted to drugs, let's say that, and so they have a certain behavior that is constantly enabling and having a focus on the drug. And you as a bystander, or you as a sibling, or as a family member, you're looking at the behavior they have. And you can see this behavior it's just spiraling downwards, right? It's spiraling into more and more chaotic behavior, more and more chaotic life. And whenever they are around, they leave this spiral of like turmoil with them, right? Because they are literally just following a path, and you're just looking at it and kind of foreseeing that, okay, if they are continuing this, it's probably going to kill them, right? It's probably going to be disastrous or dangerous. And I'm just standing here, but I can't really, I'm not their guardian. I don't have authority over them. They do have free will. They can go wherever they want. If I take the booze away, if I take the drugs away, the pills or whatever, if I find it and I take it away, they will somehow, in some kind of way, get something new, because they are not prepared to change anything. There is no reason strong enough for them to change anything. As I say, maybe your children are not enough to change your ways. Maybe your wife is not enough to change your ways. You're still pursuing this maybe dangerous path somehow, because it somehow has a hold on you, or it has a grip on you. Like a gambling path or something. You're following something, and someone else is just standing there and looking at this behavior, and how maybe they too are affected by it, right? And it's like, to a certain point, do you want to involve yourself in a paradigm that someone else is living? That's kind of what I was asking Scorpio, I would say, but I feel like, is that fair? Is it fair to be drawn into someone else's drama because they are not choosing to do differently? They have a lot of problems, but it's actually not your problems, right? I see you kind of being this observer. You're watching someone else's paradigm, for instance, and you can see how much pain there is there, or how much hurt or money problems, whatever is here. And you're kind of just observing it and just having this, I don't want to be part of this, right? I'm trying to get myself out of that pool with the way I think, with the choices I make, and so on, right? You are on this path of just like, I can see how dense this has been. And I also see that maybe it had to be that dense, otherwise I wouldn't have mustered the courage to somehow get out, right? Or to seek the exit door, right? To somehow seek an exit. So I feel like, again, a bit with in terms of the Scorpio reading, like we could say, the ones who still live in the paradigm, they are in the Scorpio, like they are in this deep emotional pain or something. And you have found the exit door, and you've gotten yourself out, and you're standing on at the exit door. You're looking through the window, right? And you're just looking at them, how it's playing out. and you're observing it, and you're just saying, oh my God, I see how dense this is, right? I see why it's difficult to get out. I see that because it's so enormous and everyone in it thinks the same way, I see how difficult it is for people to get out. What it takes, I know now what it takes to stand on the other side and look in. But you can maybe also appreciate this idea that you've learned something. You actually mustered or gathered or grew a different version of yourself to get yourself out, to even to see this, right? It has taken maybe bravery. Maybe you had to cut ties with family or something, right? But you're kind of looking, you're standing on the other side of the door looking in on this. And you're kind of just, whoa, I see how dense, I understand why this is very difficult to leave, how massive it is, and why they are not leaving, everyone in here, why they're not leaving. Because I know now what it takes to stand on the other side, and I'm not going back there, right? That's not what I want in my life. That's what I feel like. So I feel like I'm talking to a Sagittarius who is now the observer of something that is playing out in front of you, or somewhere in your perimeter, in your family or something. It's playing out there, and you're just kind of watching it, and maybe also appreciating, wow, if this had not been that dense and massive, I would probably, that thing in me, that truth in me, if I haven't had that surge in me, I would have stayed. I wouldn't have gotten myself out. So being maybe, like grateful for this idea that this has been so massive, that I understand why people get stuck in it. At the same time, being very appreciative maybe for the Sagittarian in you that has kept searching, right? That has kept searching for a way out, or something different, something more joyous maybe, or something more, I don't know, uplifting or something. That there's a part of you that has kept searching, and you did find the exit door, and you're now just standing there and you're watching this, and you remember it. You remember all of this, right? You remember what this is. And you're just watching it, and kind of, if nobody in here has a Sagittarius like me, in them, they will never get out. Like they will never get out. Right? They will get stuck in this, whatever this is. Something like that. So let's have a look here. Yeah, look at this. So I have here a radical expansion, and I have the curse underneath here. That's exactly what I talk about. It's like you've gone through some kind of radical expansion, transformation here. You are now this, right? And you're looking at whatever this is for you, or was for you, right? Look at the colors here and the colors here, right? How different they are. Radical expansion is also maybe radical in the way that you are expanding, but in away from this, right? Like you're taking a different route than everyone expected for you. You are expanding yourself, but radically in a different direction, right? So we look at the image here, if you can see it. Look at her. She has her heart here, and she's opening it up and swirl. There's something swirling here. She's allowing something to swirl and fly and take flight and be big, right? She allows something to, from her heart space here. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually, the tail of this dragon here, it comes from the heart area here of her. It spins, it comes here and then it goes in here. Right, so she's actually letting something get out here and just swirl and be big and take flight. Having bigger thoughts, right? Expanding bigger thoughts, bigger visions for herself, bigger dreams, right? Where this is something that we see how it's holding over the mouth here, and kind of I see her a little bit like if she's wearing like some kind of garment that is only prohibiting her to see a little bit here, but not speak her truth, right? It's like she's hidden somehow. She's not allowed actually to come through, right? The curse is kind of hiding her truth here. And here I see it like she's like really just letting her truth be known, perhaps, or following her dreams here, letting that expand, no matter whether others are living this. Again, there's this distinction between, if you know let's say your parents or your siblings are still living in this paradigm here that I talked about, does that mean that you cannot have happiness or growth, or that you cannot be the one that got out? Do you have to stay here out of loyalty or shame or guilt? I ought to, I should, it's my parents, something like that. Here I see someone expanding, like they are taking like a brave move towards something, thinking bigger thoughts for themselves, or a more abundant, maybe like abundant life, right? A happier life. Saying no to the curse here, saying no to whatever this is. We see here a door to personal healing and happiness. It's like you found the exit door. You found an exit door. Now it's like, do you take it? Do you go there? Because then you have to leave this behind, right? When you go through this door here, that's when you get into this realm here, right? You get into this realm. When you go through the door, you get into this realm. But taking that step, and maybe you're standing, like you're on the brink of going there, and you're looking over your shoulder, looking back on whatever this was, right? Whatever this was. An attachment, a codependency, a trauma, a bond maybe, or some ties that has been keeping you here, and keeping you from expansion. I want to say it has kept you restricted somehow. But when you are going through this door and you're closing it here, you are now in this realm. You are in a realm or you are moving out, like you're moving out of a house or a home that has been, I don't know, where there has been something going on here that has kept you small, or that you had to hide, or you could just observe what was going on, but it was, not something where you could not express yourself freely and grow and be bigger, and have bigger dreams. We could have, as I said, the paradigm of grief or poverty or scarcity or something like that that has been like really, really restricting you here. And as long as you are loyal to that and stay there, you can't open the door to your own personal healing. You can't go there. You can't have the expansion. Up here it says 3 of Gabriel. Prosperity arising from wise planning. Take time to take the next step. Optimistic plans that turn out as expected. It's because you're choosing to go through the door. You found somehow an exit door here. You found an exit door somehow towards this personal healing here. And I feel like the reason for that, I can look at the driver here. Let's just have a look at the driver. So here I have the driver, the underlying energy for this card here, the door to personal healing. It's like maybe you have literally been looking. Like you have tried to open so many doors here. Or you have, as I said, maybe you have tried to talk to so many family members and none of them had like none of them had the right the right feel to it, or it wasn't the truth you were looking for. It says here adjacent possibilities, right? So there has been many possibilities here. The one you're looking for had to do with personal healing and happiness. That's just the one you're looking for. You know, like and you have been trying to open so many doors. Maybe you were somehow, you know, like presented with a long hall here where there were so many doors, and you have tried to open each and every one of them. That's what I feel like. This is the driver. It's like there must be a way out of this. Like I'm searching for some kind of door that is not showing me the same thing here. Right? I'm looking for a door and a way out that can somehow erase this from my life. Right? So and maybe you've tried many of them. Like you followed different signs, you have followed, you know, others who have been guiding you, giving you advice. You've tried that, you've tried it, but now you have come to a door that shows you this. It shows you this. And when you choose to go through that, it has to do with your personal healing and happiness. That is maybe what you wanted. Some of these doors could talk about wealth, right? Some of them could talk about social status. Some of them could talk about, maybe disease and illness and all this that is linked to this, right? Actually, the card here could talk about it's up to you. What do you want, right? Because there is possibilities. Which one are you choosing? You can choose doors that relate to this, or you can choose doors that relate to something else. But maybe you're the only one who has this thought, right? That there could be another door, right? There could be another door. Others here that live here, they don't think that there is another door. They only see the round they're in. They don't expect or hope for, or they may hope for it, but they don't expect to see another door. Let's have the underlying energy for this one. It says the beloved here. The beloved and the curse. This is terrible, right? So there's a curse related to the beloved, those you love most. Those you care about most, those who care a lot about you, could be carrying some kind of curse here. Maybe you see what the curse is now. As I just said, it could be codependency, attachment style, It's the way children are brought up, like if you are brought up to be a man-child, not knowing how to take responsibility in your own life. We see how the two hands here are kind of holding the heart. So it's like someone is carrying the heart of someone else here. Could be the feeling that you are overprotective about someone, that you're kind of that it's important to ensure the core of the family, like everyone has to step up if there's a problem. Or as I said, if you have someone in your family who has an addiction or an illness or something, everyone else is here to kind of carry them through life and help them. And it means that to do that, you may need to become smaller, right? You may need to be part of this paradigm, but when you do that, you are now an enabler, maybe, or you have to be considerate about someone else, but actually not yourself. You're not you're taking care of someone here, or you have been taking care of someone here, and that this could be a card of your entire family. It could be one person, it could be a child, but the point is that it's this feeling of needing to protect them or keep them safe somehow, safeguard them, safeguard their heart. Someone who is maybe sensitive here, or someone who is easily shook or easily like maybe they have a heart disease, or something like that. We could even talk about life itself, like surviving, that there's a tendency of survival mode here with those that you love or those who love you. But it feels like a curse, this idea of needing to protect someone else. But those people, they do their own stuff, right? They take risks in life, perhaps. Risks you don't like, because you can't keep them safe when they're doing that, right? But on the other hand, they have, life lessons as well. They have things they need to learn, or their soul wants to grow. And actually, by keeping them in a bubble of protection, we're not allowing them to grow or have their challenges in life or their road bumps, right? And it keeps you alert all the time to be the one who is like a protective shield for someone here. You will have more peace if you take your hands away, right? If you take your hands away, you will have more peace, because now they have to figure out how to do this on their own here. Maybe you have been looking for a way how can I somehow at the same time protecting them and still having a way out towards my own personal healing or my own personal. It could be that someone has been protecting you, right? They have seen you in a certain way and always had this protective shield around you, and you have tried somehow to get out because you needed it, right? You needed to overcome it. As I said, maybe it had to be this dense for you as a soul to somehow keep searching for the right door to get out, right? But sometimes you can have your life lesson if someone else is constantly like overbearing and always there, like to shield you or something. Maybe this shielding, this protection of some sense, it could be well meant, right? Like it could be well meant or as a help or something, but it actually feels like a curse because it's prohibiting you from having your real expansion here, from growing and actually seeing your own potential unfold, right? The Three of Gabriel, as I say, this would be like the Three of Wands, like seeing your ships. What's that called? Normally it says Three of Wands would be waiting for your ships to come in. Here it's actually like they are here. The ships are currently approaching the harbor here. And you're seeing that, right? You're seeing that, oh, it seems like my ship is here. Maybe you need to jump on this ship, right? Maybe you need to, you're seeing now that something is unfolding. It says here, prosperity arising from wise planning. The planning here could come just from the idea that you have kept searching. Right, you haven't given up on your dream, or you haven't given up on like the idea of the exit door, right? That there must be a way out of something here. It can be that I'm just kind of needing to like relive the same thing as my parents did and my great parents, and there has to be a way out somehow. And you have kept searching, looking for it. You have kept searching for it. And because you didn't stop searching, because you were willing to maybe like take the hands away here from someone, or you are trying to push the hands away if this is someone who tries to keep you in a stronghold or in a protective, there's something about when people try to like hold you like this. Of course it can be like we want to protect you, but if you have potential like this that is so big, like this dragon here, to keep you here is actually like an abuse, right? It's like you're kept small, but because you are actually, like really big, right? There is no room to breathe here. It's a little bit like there is no room to breathe here. It's very red, and to me that talks about root chakra, a little bit of orange, root and sacral chakra. I can take the book, we will see, but I think that it would be about love, loving those who are closest to you. But you see, the love and the emotions that you have for someone, this can actually be the curse, right? That you love someone, or you love your family here, and you have great appreciation for everything they have done for you and everything. You may feel you owe them, right? When you're in the curse, you feel you owe them. But the point is that it's like there's a curse connected with all the love that you have here for someone. And therefore I feel like it's a toxic situation. The love you have, maybe this is a driver card. So this can be a driver for your own healing. This can be love for yourself. And for this voice in you that kind of just keeps looking for the love here, could talk about that I wanna get out. I wanna protect myself from whatever I'm in here. I wanna take myself out of one of these doors. So this is the love for yourself, perhaps here, that you have kept. Maybe you have managed to somehow keep it safe, that a part of you, as I said, the Sagittarian part in you has somehow been kept maybe safe from or the purity of something here has been kept safe, or almost kept safe from whatever this is. And therefore you have kept kind of searching for a way out. But I also see how the red is here, and maybe it talks about that you couldn't anymore. Like the red, the root chakra here, the primal attachment styles, the original grounding, your roots, where you come from, the DNA, as I said, the inherited, given from like parent to child, this programming that is given. You see, I don't know if you can see it, but there are actually kind of circles here, like rings in the water, how it has been like passed on from generation to generation, and how it has affected a core part of everyone. It has affected a core part of everyone. That is the feeling of the curse, that the heart, the core part of you, is in danger, right? We see that it is from her heart that she's actually, I don't know if you can see it, she's quite small here, but it's from her heart that she's now expanding all of this. But if her heart has been under lock, under some kind of spell, or some kind of curse here, restriction, she couldn't, right? She couldn't expand. Or you couldn't expand. You were kept in like a little bubble somehow. And you had to stay there. I feel like, again, this paradigm is only allowing for a certain movement. You can only move within this paradigm, understanding this belief system. And if you try to get out, it means that you need to heal the heart to get out, right? You need to take different action and trust it also. Trust that there could be more, even though it is overly influenced by something here, by your roots and your DNA and everything. But that's what I talk about. It had to be that bad. It had to become that bad, that you could no longer maybe protect this pure part of yourself, that it's kind of invading that space also. And that's the reason why you're choosing now to find ways to get out. That's why you're taking action, that you're no longer silent or hiding here behind the trees, or behind that you are hiding yourself. You're realizing, if I want a real chance in life, if I want to have a different life than this, I have to do something. And it's invading my core, the core of me now. It has maybe for many years invading your core. So you had to plan to get out. Maybe you had to become the observer of your curse, right? And you were looking for ways out here. And in your search, you figured out, nobody in my family knows how to get out. Nobody trusts that there is another door. Nobody trusts that there could be abundance. Nobody sees that. The paradigm is locked. It's frozen somehow. So I'm the only one. I'm searching for this door here. And I see that you're finding it, right? You have this radical expansion here, because you're trusting your heart and you're purifying it. You're purifying it here. And you are actually realizing, because you did find a door. The door is only showing you this. But when you pass through it and you close this behind you, it's like you have entered the fifth dimension, right? And in this realm, there's so much more that is possible. You can manifest much easier. You can have a more colorful, wonderful, magical life here. prosperity is arising because you planned wisely, right? Time to take the next step, optimistic plans that turn out as expected. Yeah. So you are now in a very expansive time, Sagittarius, where you can have cornucopia, right? You could manifest all of that. You could have all of that. I feel like I'm talking to a Sagittarius who has been looking, because it grew very, very dark, and it became very, like it became too much. It was invading the last bit of you that was pure. It was invading the last bit of you that was pure. Because it became that bad, you had to act, right? You had to act. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to somehow have this. So it had to be this dense and massive and consistent in its way. Otherwise, you wouldn't have, and the same kind of pressure. It had to be like constantly pressing you into like so little was left of your truth seeker purity, you could say. And because it was that immense, you had to, that was the trigger point. The trigger point was that your heart was now actually polluted here. And when that happened, it's like you could feel it, right? You had to seek a way out somehow. So whether this was from a marriage or from, as I said, like a paradigm, but it was so big and massive and dense, and everyone in it told the same story. It was the same narrative in here, and it was so dense and unnegotiable, right? Everyone was agreeing. Everyone was speaking the same language. Everyone stuck to the same story, right? Everyone was so. I hope you get my point. It's like it had to be that massive to seemingly awaken that truth seeker in you. There had to be like pushed so much pressure on you before it came out, before it chose to react, before it chose to react and was searching here, was searching and trusting that there has to be a way out, there has to be another way, there has to be another life available for me. But you had to be pushed like really, really hard down before you tried to get out of it. But then when that happens, the radical expansion here could actually be a bit, scary. Because you see, she has this is her size, right? And what is happening here is huge. Like this is tremendously, very, very big, right? And maybe you never thought that you could have like a world like this. Whatever that is, whether it's cornucopia, a lightheartedness, a joy, a happiness. It says here, door to personal healing and happiness. Right? The rainbow is here, the dove is here, an ease, a magical, flourishing life here. Whatever that is for you. But it's like it's massive, right? It's so big, and the reason for that is because you chose yourself here. You chose to not accept the invasion of your heart anymore. Like there was nothing more there was nothing left. Almost nothing left. I feel like a little spark left, right? And it's like if they took that also, you would be stuck. You wouldn't be able to come out. You wouldn't be able to survive, perhaps, here. But that was what it took. It took that amount of pressure cooker, to get that ignited in you. That, you could say, that your own knight in you, right? The one who's operating from a code, from an honor, from a truth-seeking code and honor devoted to yourself, right? That's what it took. It had to be sparked somehow. And from that day on, you were on a journey looking for a way out. Try to plan wisely here for your own survival. Get the ticket for the ship here, to have this radical expansion. It's very interesting what that is. At the bottom of the deck, so the driver for the radical expansion here comes with air. And what did I say? I can't really make this up. Look at the bottom here, paradigm shift, right? Can you see that? I talked about that, right? I said that it's like the others are living in some kind of paradigm, and you're just watching it from the exit door, right? Maybe you look over your shoulder, you're just looking back at this, whatever massive, dense, tough, painful situation, right? And how you got yourself out of it. You changed the way you think here. This is air energy. So this has to do with the way you think about yourself, your perception, your mind, your social construct of the world, your identity, who you are, thinking bigger of yourself, seeing yourself as a different being, perhaps. Here, look at how this is somehow similar with the wings here, and how this big dragon that kind of unfolds. Its wing finally flies free here, and it's just swirling around in the air, like having this free. It's like a bird that gets out of the cage, right? That feeling. So beautifully done here, Sagittarius. Keep going, right? For the 3 of Gabriel, let's have the driver. Yeah, of course it is. Look at this strength card. Yeah, you had to muster, as I said, you had to muster a strength in you, a power. Strength is Leo energy. This is fire energy. This is your Sagittarian fire energy. You had to like muster this bravery, this strength in you to overcome something massive, right? You had to trust the lion in you. You had to trust this fire in you, even if nobody else did. Even if nobody else could see there could be other doors, you mustered this, right? You mustered and trusted that there had to, again, it's an intuitive thing. We have the purple color, the crown chakra here, right? Strength and grace through kindness, self-confidence, and forgiveness. So you did a lot of healing here. You did a lot of healing. You mustered every time you tried another door here. Every time you tried another door. Every time you tried another way, a different approach, a different mindset, a different... you tried, right, to find it. You tried to figure out how to get yourself out here. And you didn't waver. That's the important thing, that you didn't give up, right? You trusted this strength in you, that you did have what it takes, even though you were maybe pushed, like really pushed down, and that there was maybe only one little spark left. You did trust that spark, right? You did trust it. You didn't give up. You didn't let go. You had to go through maybe the most toughest time in your life you had to muster this, like this inner feeling of, the Leo is also about leadership, inner leadership, right? You had to trust this intuition of yours. Even if nobody, it's like, again, you were up against something that wouldn't budge, right? And nobody supported, like this, the paradigm here that you have been up against has been so massively dense and unmovable and stuck that you couldn't move it. If someone had to move, it had to be you, right? You had to move, working your way through this, right? And it had to do with the beloved. So this is extremely difficult, right? Because it is usually the people we care most about, those that we trust also, right? The people in our lives that we care about. To somehow find your way through that, the loyalty that is here, right? The loyalty that we usually have for those we love. This is very difficult in the emotional human realm to kind of deal with this, right? This would probably have been quite emotional. And here we stand with air. Air is much more rational. The air element is rational, logical, scientific, technical. It is honest. It is speaking its mind. This would be a sword energy, right? A sword energy is air energy is not very emotional. Maybe you need it really to like shift your emotions into a more you could say logical way of, or analytical way of, again there's this idea of observing the paradigm you grew up in, right? Like observing it and seeing how it works, the pattern of it, like really using your air element here, everything you can do. Maybe that's why I talked about Gemini also here, like really seeing the pros and cons of something, and studying this paradigm that you grew up in, right? And being the observer of it, seeing the patterns, analyzing the patterns, and becoming extremely skilled in that, using everything you could here to get yourself into a different paradigm here. And when you do that, something is shifting. When you stand in this paradigm or in this knowledge, this is where you can have the radical expansion. This is what allows you to open your heart or to trust again, to feel that you're not invaded or somehow threatened here, that you are safe. So I don't know exactly what you did. I can just see the healing here. I can see how you tried, and you had to, like, this is the 11 card, right? This is a sacred number. 1111 talks about being on the right path, that you're guided. It is a sign of being, if you see 1111 on your alarm clock or something, it's like a sign that you're on the right path. But the right path was to muster enough strength to sever yourself from something here that could have been very difficult, because it does involve those that you care most about. Like this is literally those that you have in your heart, right? These are the people you have in your heart. This is very difficult. Realizing that those that you loved most were actually toxic for you, like they were abusive, or this is very, very difficult. So this is definitely not. This is not easy here. It says strength and grace through kindness, self-confidence, and forgiveness. So embracing this instead of anger, rage, lashing out, hate, a spiral of dark, revengeful thoughts. You chose this. That is Leo energy, to choose this. Healthy Leo energy, to choose this instead of the other way, right? To muster this when maybe being betrayed or hurt by those you love most. That tells me something about how strong you are, and also perhaps actually how big you are here. This could talk about your soul, that this is your soul, how wise it is. How wise it is, how big it is. And I want to say, if this is like your soul, that you finally see how big it is. The reason why you were put in a situation like that was so dense, is because a soul like this, that is still incarnating, still learning here on earth, it has to be extremely challenging. Otherwise, a soul like this is figuring it out easily. This one was a challenge for that soul to figure out how to get out of that situation. So this is still soul growth, right? It's immense in its size. It has been immense in size from the get-go, from your birth, but now it's even bigger. Like it has again solved a big life lesson here. But it had to be that dense. It had to be that big. It had to be that, I want to say, life-threatening here. It had to, or identity-threatening somehow. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten yourself out. Maybe you weren't given many tools, like you had no access to this, I think. The wisdom here, the wisdom that is here, you had no access to it. Because it all lays in your heart. It's all in your heart. And because your heart was so influenced by so much density here, you couldn't hear it, right? It's like you had no, it's like the compass was not there. You couldn't call it, like you couldn't reach, have connection with it here. You couldn't have connection with it. It was very difficult to keep your heart pure. Your heart was totally like, I want to say, like a tsunami, right? It was totally swept in this. It was swept in whatever this is. And it couldn't speak. You couldn't connect with it somehow. But now I think you can. You can connect with it. The spirit you have here, I think it is very big. It has been here so many times before, and that's why the lesson had to be that tough. Because if it wasn't that tough, your soul would easily have figured this out. It would have been too easy. It would have been too easy. It had to be extremely, extremely difficult. I feel like and I'm saying this with love here, I believe that the one I'm speaking to here, they understand this. But people who are trapped in this, they feel like they are living hell here. They are living hell. But if you somehow manage to come on the other side, you can look back at this. And that's why I started this video by saying it's like someone is looking back. They're looking at this like dense, massive, unnegotiable, unchangeable mass of something that they have been dropped into as an infant, right? And they had to live there. And their heart was so like enmeshed in this that you couldn't hear your own soul. You couldn't hear your own voice, right? You had no voice here, right? It's like you couldn't hear it. You, without any tools here, you had to find a way out. That's very difficult. In the spiritual realm, we say that when a soul incarnates, they choose their own challenge, right? They choose the life they're going to get. So if that's the case, you have chosen it yourself. I don't know about that one, but depending on what that is for you. But when you come to this stage in your life of maturing, you can probably embrace it. Like you can probably understand it, as I'm trying to tell you now. It's because your soul is very, very big here. You have your soul has been here many times before, many lifetimes. Probably one of the big, like I see them as one of the biggest. Like they are probably on the brink of not incarnating anymore, like not coming back. The life lesson given to big souls, like very wise souls who have been here many times before on the playground earth, they have learned, from little things when they incarnated the first time. When they incarnate the first time, the lesson has to be less difficult. When you have been here 1,000 times, the lesson is very difficult. So this is just, otherwise the soul can't grow, right? Then it's just repeating something it has done already. So I feel like you have been here without many tools, without your voice, without maybe the feeling of own identity here. Because it's kind of, it's almost like a hand that fingers here that is holding over the mouth of someone. And that would say that you have no voice, or you have no identity, you have no throat chakra here. And here we have air, and that's exactly what you have shifted, right? You have implied a throat chakra shift here. You have implied a third eye and crown chakra shift here for yourself, even if you had no tools. That's what you have done. You have given yourself the voice back, your identity back, the throat chakra, the ability to communicate, the ability to talk, the ability to communicate with your heart. You have re-established, and that is difficult if you don't have it from the get-go. If you come in and you never got to develop it, that could be part of the thing here as well, that whatever situation is here didn't allow you to have your own voice or identity, right? You were enmeshed in theirs. You were enmeshed in their well-being or their life. You were just a bystander, or like a servant, or I don't know, but take it how it resonates, right? You were entangled in their stuff. That's what I feel like with the hands here. It's like entangled in something here. This is tremendous work, Sagittarius. Healing work. And again, you are healing for yourself, but a soul like this coming to Earth, incarnating again, doing this work here is not only for themselves. This is a lot of healing work for Earth itself. But we are also astrologers say, we are in a paradigm shift, or Earth is shifting its dimension from the third towards the fifth dimension. So we all need to go through a paradigm shift. But that's what I feel like you are doing, right? You are the oldest fire sign. So of course you're doing something. As a truth seeker, but also with the knowledge of divine timing and temperance, knowing that prosperity arising from wise planning, right? You didn't throw yourself in like the page of fire, right? You didn't just lose your head in it. You didn't lose your head in it. Right, that's important to remember, that you were wise. You somehow managed to temper this fire in you. Use it wisely. Not losing not losing your ability to move on, not using all your energy at once, and then needing to go back into this, right? You somehow prioritized your energy and took the steps you could at the right time. Where an Aries would maybe just forcefully run towards it. A Leo would be a little less aggressive, and Sagittarius would be even less aggressive again. It would be about planning. It would be wise. And it had to come from a place of, as I say here, kindness, self-confidence, forgiveness, self-love. And again, it's not when I had this feeling of that you're standing outside the door looking in on the paradigm here. It's not that you hate it. That's not what I feel. I feel like actually you do have appreciation for it. You can see how massive it is. You can see how difficult it is to get out. You can see how maybe your siblings are stuck in it, or your parents are, or grandparents, or extended family is stuck in this. You see it. You see how it's applying to actually being a curse, right? How dense it is, how massive, and how much suffering or pain there is here. How third dimensional it is, right? You see how difficult it is to move such a thing here, to change it, or to change from it. But somehow you are standing here now and you're looking in on it. And you are maybe also accepting, okay, I see that how my family historically has lived here, how this has been inherited again and again, and even towards me. I got born into this, right? I got born into this stuff here. I got born into this. And I see that now when I stand here, I see that it's still going on here. You know, it's still there. I'm just the one who got out. And I can be grateful for that, but I also worked for it, right? I actually had to muster the most strength ever possible I could figure out. And I was searching here because I didn't have the voice, right? I didn't have the tools. I had no tools here. I was given as little tools as ever possible. Knowledge or contact to my intuition. It's like maybe your intuition was shut off here. You had no tools. So you knocked on many doors here for help or healing or help. You know, you asked many people. You trusted many people. It turned out to be false or not good or not helpful. But eventually you found a door here. Or you found someone who could help you figure out how to get your voice back here, how to open your throat chakra, right? This is what we all need to do, actually. The worst thing you ever experienced, this is what we need to heal. Without losing ourselves in the process. I congratulate you, Sagittarius. This is immense work for yourself and the planet, others. This is absolutely amazing. And I'm curious what this is, right? That who are you, right? When you actually open this heart of yours and you realize, whoa, who am I actually, right? Or you are suddenly connected with a part of yourself that is immense. Like there is so much knowledge here, right? So much knowledge. And you can now talk to it. The channel is open, right? You do have the downloads, you do have the connection, you do see or feel or know. I want to say you know, and you can speak your mind here. You have changed that throat chakra of yours, or unblocked it, or gotten it back, or whatever we should say here. Can we have a little card on this radical expansion, perhaps? Could we see what that could be? Choosing the Lemurian cards. Let's have a look at it. Crown chakra. So I get here crown chakra, the unlimited self, yes. So this is the self of yours that you are now connecting with, that is unlimited. So it means that it can have access to anything. There is no limitation in this realm with this big guy here, this soul of yours. This one has no limitations, and where you come from, there's only limitation. Right? This guy, it flows constantly. Like there's always an abundance flow, or there's always access to whatever you want or need. It's always there. That's the crown chakra, the unlimited self. You have opened your crown chakra, everything that has to do with air here. Throat chakra, third eye, crown chakra, towards like your higher self, your higher, bigger self, your soul wisdom. And there is no limitations here in what you can know, in what you can learn, in what you can be, in what you can manifest. Everything is open. All doors are open. This is absolutely amazing, Sagittarius. Gorgeous. And gorgeous life, right? This is the door that opens to the unlimited. It's like you have opened the door to your unlimited self, and you realize that it's huge, right? It's so big here. Maybe you feel it. Maybe you somehow just like it's like suddenly things are there, or you find it. It comes easily to you, or you only make one little search on Google, and then it's right there, right? Or and again, look at the colors here, right? How beautiful the colors correspond here, right? It's very colorful and happy and joyous and easy. Life is easy here. Life is not a struggle. Life is not hard work, right? That's also a thing that I think is here, that this is hard work and dense and difficult and constant struggle, and it's a here you have to be a workhorse. Like, you really have to put in all your muscle power to get something through. And here it's so much easier. The ships are coming in, everything kind of lines up to work out for you. So this is where you pat yourself on your shoulder and just open the red wine or whatever, the champagne or something. You have definitely like grown here. If you experience this feeling that something is suddenly just like opening up here for you, and you have an encounter, I get the feeling of an encounter, a feeling, um, a heart expansion somehow. When you feel that, this is where this kind of the door to the cage is opening. You found the door to the cage, the exit, right? And you can get out. So as I said, this feeling is like a dense cave of muddled water and suffering, and you have found the door, and you're now standing there and looking back on it, realizing that you had to be dropped into a line and history of lives, you could say incarnated lives, that were inheriting the same storyline. That no matter who you asked in the family, extended family and everything, no matter who you asked, they all said the same thing. It had to be that massive. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been pressured enough to get out. You would have stayed there. It's because at some point it was so life-threatening for you, so identity and life-threatening for you, that you had to do something. So what, and that's why this is so big, right? You overcame and something very big here. This is a big life lesson with not many tools available. And really not connections, like you couldn't rely on, and now it starts thundering here in the background here. You couldn't rely on those who were closest to you to help you, right? Actually, they were maybe literally holding you back. You couldn't rely on them. And of course, when we incarnate, we forget. So maybe you have been living in fear for many, many years, not knowing who you were. You were maybe attached to or codependent here, living this simple little life in this cave of paradigm belief system here. Never thought there were any way out unless you got pressured enough. Then it's like something started. Something was ignited, a search for something. You've managed to open your crown chakra here. I believe also throat chakra and third eye, to somehow like get the information, the tools you didn't have here, they are available here. And you can manifest anything, I would say, from the unlimited self here, from being a very limited, having a human experience of being very, very limited, not even knowing who you were, not even feeling you had your own self, perhaps, right? To now having an unlimited self. That is quite a change. And that's why if you go from a challenge like this, the reward will also be big. You overcame something big, the reward is big. Right? That's, I guess, a thing. Or at least that's what I see here in the cards. So take that how it resonates, Sagittarius. I hope this helped. And use maybe the new moon that is coming, right? Again, to manifest something new. What is it that you want to come in here? What kind of ships do you want to jump on? Or you have the strength now, right? You have mustered everything you needed to get yourself on the other side of the door, right? And you don't have to like stay attached to it emotionally and everything. You can actually do something that has to do with your own happiness. Pursue dreams that you have, right? That's what I see. So, congratulations, Sagittarius. Amazing reading for you. I hope this somehow helped, or you can take something from this reading or from this message. I send you my very best. Take care of yourself. You're amazing truth seekers and speakers. We love you. I love you very much. This is absolutely necessary. So thank you so much, and love and light. Bye bye.